Hello everyone, my name is Chrissy and I am the Interpretation Supervisor for the Dinosphere and Treasures of the Earth galleries at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. And today we're going to be making a little piece of history together by creating a time capsule. Now since we can't be at the actual museum today, we thought we'd bring a little of the museum to you, specifically the Treasures of the Earth gallery and the main message behind that gallery, which is archaeology. Now some of you heard of archaeology before, I bet you have from movies and things like that. But archaeology is the study of human history by discovering, excavating, and then studying the objects that people leave behind. Now in the Treasures of the Earth gallery, we focus on 3 world-famous archaeological sites: the Terracotta Warriors of China, the underwater shipwreck of the notorious Captain Kidd, and the Egyptian tomb of Pharaoh Seti I. Now while these sites are pretty amazing, awe-inspiring sites, a lot of the time archaeologists are just dealing with the everyday objects from people like me and you. In fact, sometimes we're even excavating middens, which is a fancy word for a trash heap. Hey, one person's trash could be another's treasure, right? So today we're going to be making our own kind of treasure by creating this time capsule to communicate with people in the future and explain to them how life was like in the spring of 2020. So first you need to decide which route you want to go, the outdoor or the indoor route. If you're going to go outdoors, you need a really sturdy container like a stainless steel or a polyethylene plastic container. These can be ordered online or sometimes found at your local home improvement stores. For the sake of today's video, we're going the indoor route. You might have some of these containers in your own house, such as a plastic Tupperware, maybe just like a sturdy box like this, or even a leftover coffee tin works well. I will be upcycling this leftover heart-shaped Valentine's chocolate tin, courtesy of my daughters. So once you've got your container, the next thing you need to start thinking about is how you're going to preserve or keep these objects safe for a very long time. Now, preservation and conservation are very important to archaeologists and historians alike. We want these things to last for generations, so lots of people get to see them, right? In fact, when you return to the museum, you'll be able to see some of our staff working really hard in our archaeology lab every day, trying to conserve some real artifacts there. So here's a few tips on how to preserve some of your artifacts. If you want to include digital material, it might not always be the best idea, like CDs with like images or zip drives and things like that, because you don't know what technology will be like in the future. So you would have to probably include an entire device to play that on. And so unless you're ready to part with like your iPod or something, maybe not the best idea. If you want to write a note, be sure to use acid-free paper and a carbon-based writing utensil. Most computer paper is acid-free and pencils are carbon-based. It's not a good idea either to include organic material like food or plants of any kind, because they are guaranteed to decompose and could affect the other items in your container. And then lastly, it's always a good idea to bag each item separately, because you never know how one object might interact with another over a long period of time. So best to keep everything separate. So today I just use regular plastic sandwich bags. Okay, so now you know how to preserve your artifacts. The next step is the fun step. Start thinking about what you want to put inside of it. So include the whole family in this. Kids, when you grow up, what do you want to be reminded of? Maybe toys you played with, places you visited with your family, activities you used to do. Maybe grown-ups, do you want to have this be for younger generations? Think of your audience. Who's going to be seeing this? You, complete strangers, younger generations. So really be thoughtful about objects that represent you. When archaeologists excavate tombs and burial sites nowadays, we find objects that we believe were important to people in their lifetime, or things they thought maybe they could bring with them into the afterlife. So for today, in my time capsule, I have a few things. I have a plastic dinosaur toy. I have a picture my daughter drew. I have a poem I wrote about ballet back in middle school. Pictures of my family, a 2020 census letter, just to give context as to like what year it is. I have a map and a plane ticket to Australia from when I studied abroad, and a picture of my husband and I. So once it's all done, you can close it up. It is also a good idea to include a letter detailing everything inside of this time capsule, because archaeologists and historians can guess or infer as much as they can about an object, but if they have a written document telling what's inside of it, it's super helpful. So once you close it all up, it's also a good idea to try and seal the container so that water and dust and insects and things like that won't be able to get inside of it. So I'll be using a glue gun today to seal up my container. Well, thank you all so much for joining me with this fun time capsule activity. trying to think of ways to communicate with people in the future with our objects. Because remember, we're creating history every single day. History does often remember the bigger picture with stories of people of royalty and presidents and things like that. But it's really these everyday objects from people like you and I that help to shape a better, more well-rounded version of history for researchers in the future. So be sure to post any pictures of time capsules you and your family make to social media with the hashtag TCM at work. And we hope to see you soon at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis.